Today, we're taking a deep dive into something that's both fascinating and honestly a little terrifying.
That's quite a story.
We're talking about the Aziz Neophytos Basilica, this incredible sunken ruin just below the surface of Turkey's İznik Lake. Our mission is to figure out its real history and, well, the very real threat it faces right now.
And it all starts with this amazing accidental discovery. Back in 2014, the local municipality was just doing some routine aerial photography.
Just flying a plane over the lake.
Exactly. And the water happened to be unusually clear, and suddenly there was this huge three-aisled basilica, maybe 1.5 meters down. It was so significant, the American Institute of Archaeology immediately called it one of the top 10 discoveries of the year.
And instantly, the biggest historical question gets attached to it. Is this the lost site of the First Council of Nicaea?
That's the most famous theory. And it's so powerful because, that council was foundational. Emperor Constantine convenes it in 325 AD. And it was to solve this massive crisis in the church called Arianism. I mean, they were fighting over the very nature of Christ. Was he created by God or was he part of God?
A pretty fundamental question.
A fundamental question. And the outcome was the Nicene Creed, which unified the church and was politically crucial for the empire.
And what's wild is that there's actual visual evidence that seems to back this up. A 16th century fresco in the Vatican Sistine Chapel. It shows the council meeting on a lakeshore outside the city walls. It's a perfect match for the location.
It is.
Yeah.
But this is where we hit the intellectual surprise. That painting might show one thing, but the historical accounts, they suggest the meeting was in a palace inside the city walls.
Oh.
And, more critically, the archaeology. They found coins from the emperors Valens and Valentinianus that date the church's construction to after 390 AD.
Wait, hang on. So the building wasn't even standing for the council in 325?
Not even close. It was built decades later.
That's a massive red flag for that theory. So if it wasn't for the council, what was it for?
Well, the evidence overwhelmingly points to it being a martyrium. It seems to have been built to honor Saint Neophytos, a local Christian who was martyred near that shore around 304 AD.
A memorial of that.
A memorial and a pilgrimage site. Excavations show it was built right on top of an ancient necropolis. I mean, they found over 20 tombs there. It fits the pattern perfectly.
And there's another historical layer too, right? Before it was even a Christian memorial.
Yes. There's some evidence that the site was originally a pagan temple to Apollo, built way back in 183 AD.
Wow.
So that's the real takeaway here. They weren't just building a church, they were actively building a major Christian pilgrimage site. They even found a pilgrim token right on top of the foundations of the old pagan world. This building, before it was ruined by an earthquake in 740 AD and then submerged, it captures that entire dramatic transformation.
Okay, so let's pivot to the modern day. Because this isn't just about ancient history. There's a geological ticking clock here.
A very loud one. The research confirms this entire ruin sits directly on the highly dangerous İznik Fault.
And that fault hasn't ruptured since 1065 AD.
Which means stress has been building up for almost 1,000 years. Geologists are worried about something called a super shear earthquake.
Super shear sounds terrifying. What does that mean for the site? What is liquefaction?
It means the ground could essentially turn into unstable liquid mud. We could see a rapid coastal collapse, which would threaten not just the basilica, but the whole necropolis underneath it.
And yet, despite this huge risk, the site is a major focus for development, especially with the 1700th anniversary of the council coming up.
It is. And the great irony is that with climate change lowering the lake levels, it's already shifting from an underwater dig to a land-based one. There are plans for an underwater museum and even a VR experience.
Incredible.
So, the basilica may not have hosted Constantine's council, but its actual story as an early Christian martyrium built on a pagan temple and then swallowed by the earth, it makes it a unique witness to that dramatic shift from the Roman Empire to a Christian one.
A shift that happened, quite literally, on unstable ground, which leads to a provocative thought for you to chew on. This ancient structure survived the massive 740 AD earthquake, but will it survive the modern era's dual threats of seismic activity and global warming?